Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things I've learned as I have grown up into the person that I am today. And I don't ever wear white, but this is my Roseanne chicken shirt, and I wore it for my main channel video, because I did a video about the return of Roseanne and what's going on with that whole thing. I'm so excited about it. I'm such a lover of that TV show. But I don't ever wear white on any of my channels, and so I thought, I'm gonna just keep on wearing this t-shirt today. So I wanted to show you something. This has nothing to do with my video, but I take all this stuff out of the back here except for the coral because it like auto focuses on it. And one of the things I love plants, and I have so many plants in my house, and I just want to show you this because this is always right here. But see, if I put it there, it auto focuses on that. It goes in and out because it's shiny, and the ring light also shines off of it. So I have to take it out of there. But I just want to say that, like, one of the things, and I never talk about it on this channel when we talk about, you know, small things in life that make a difference and gratitude and whatever. Each of these plants cost about $2.99 at Meijer. They also have them at Walmart. And I always just get these little plants, and then I grow them and I put them in this little thing in here until they get to a size, well, this is a cactus, until they get to a size that I can put them in a bigger thing. And it's just little small things like that, I think, in the world that make me so happy. And I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about that today, like just the little things in life that make me really happy on a daily basis, you know, whether it be going outside with my dogs, because I was trying to take them out the back and our sliding glass door is broken and we don't know what's wrong with it. And those little kind of things can really irritate me. So I want to also have the ability to take little things in my life and have them push me into like a joy moment, if that makes sense. But none of that was what I was going to talk about on here today. I wanted to talk about actually this girl that my dad kind of semi-dated back in the day. He met and then she visited and whatever. So, and when my dad and my mom got divorced, my dad was just a super cool guy. I mean, he still is, but very super cool back in the day. Always wore trucker hats and, you know, traveled around the world. And he would always wear like, you know, t-shirts from where he had been and cut off jean shorts and, you know, fry boots long before anybody cared about him and just because he liked them. And, you know, he just is kind of this idea. He was a backpacker around the world, you know? And one of the things that he would do every year is in the winter, he would go to Banff, Canada, and he would hike in the Canadian Rockies. And he would take like 2 weeks and do it. And he would just meet like other travelers along the way. But I got to grow up and hear these stories about how my dad was like in a tent. Now, can you imagine? This is totally the opposite of me, and I hate camping, okay? If you like it, you like it, but I am not a camper. I don't love it. So anyway, but my dad would talk about like, you know, how he was like sleeping in a tent and he would hear something outside and he would look and there would be like this huge bear out there, and, you know, that he had learned how to like deal with being around like bears and whatever. And my dad is also a photographer, and the pictures that he would take back then were like absolutely incredible. And my dad used to do stuff that was so cool. Like one time for the US Open for tennis, because my dad loves tennis, he made up a fake press pass. I've talked about this on my vlog. He made up a fake press pass and wore it around his neck, and it was like Sports Illustrated or something. And then he wore like cut off jean shorts and like some t-shirt, and he just looked like he was supposed to be like a photographer in the 70s. He literally walked on the floor of like the main like tennis court at Flushing Meadows for the US Open back. I mean, he has pictures of like Bjorn Borg and like Yvonne Lindell like right there. It's so cool. And he just, like, my dad loved to take risks to have the most amazing life. And, you know, I've talked about that before, about how he did like medical missionary work in Honduras, and he lived on a boat and they would swim in every day. And he's just done some really, really cool things in his life, you know? And whereas my mom has inspired me, because she passed away so young, to chase your dreams. And she, as wise as she was somebody that was full of fear a lot. You know, I learned from her, chase your dreams while you can. My dad is somebody that showed me action to chasing your dreams and how they accomplish things. So he met this woman one time while he was like single and he was camping up in Canada, and her name was Rosemary, and she was like this woman that was traveling the world. She was like backpacking, right? And she had actually been an editor for, I don't know if I should say this, I don't know like where she's at today, so I'll just leave it completely private, but she was a movie editor, right? And she was from New Zealand, and the movie was very, very well known. And so anyway, he met her, and he came back, and he showed me all these pictures that he had met her, and they had like gone down and like stayed in the inn, and they had gone to like this play. They went and saw Night Mother by Marcia Norman, which is like one of my favorite movies, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And he bought her like a new coat because she needed a new coat, and they became like really good friends. I mean, I don't know, right? But anyway, I mean, my dad was like 40. He was my age. He was like 45. You know, he was so cool. So, I mean, he still is, but he was very cool back then. So anyway, and now he's been married 30 years to my stepmother, who they're together, one of the coolest couples I've ever met. So anyway, but she came through town because she was like, took 2 years off just to travel the world. And so she came through town, and at the time I probably was like 10, and she stayed with my dad for like a week. Well, I can remember like, I would say things to my dad like, why doesn't Rosemary like shave her legs or her armpits? Or she wore these like super high, like knee-high wool socks with like hiking boots and clogs and, you know, jean skirts, and then like a huge sweater, and like she always carried a backpack as a purse. Like today we would look at that and be like, that is so very bohemian and cool. But this was like 1982, right? Like this wasn't, I mean, back then, like that's not how people dressed unless they were world travelers, and she was. Anyway, over the period of about 2 weeks, I spent a lot of time with her, and, you know, she kind of, through the years, has left this huge imprint on me. I think my dad only ever heard from her, like, once or twice again, like, throughout his life, because I asked him not too long ago, I was like, did you ever hear from that Rosemary again? He was like, no, maybe, like, 15 years ago or 20 years ago or something like that. He's like, I have no idea where she's at. And I was thinking about that today in regards to the movie Lost in Translation, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. And if you've never seen it, I don't want to ruin it for you. But why do I keep on saying that? Bill Murray, not Bill Rosemary. Bill Murray goes to Tokyo. He's like an actor, and he's shooting like this Scotch commercial, I think. And he meets Scarlett Johansson that's there because her boyfriend is like a musician. And so they're both kind of lonely, and she doesn't have really a whole lot to do, so they become friends. And it's totally platonic in the movie. And I believe it's totally platonic. I'm almost positive of that. But there's this scene at the very end when they're going their separate ways. And, you know, he's like, he says something to her like, come live with me or come be with me or something like that, or, you know, we can stay friends. And, you know, it's this moment, and I think many of us have had these moments in our lives. It's also like a Bridges of Madison County kind of thing, you know, where you know that this relationship that you have built over a short period of time can never be again, you know? It's very much like the Breakfast Club of everybody, you know, being in one room together. And I was talking to my friend the other day about how I had gone on this orchestra trip when I was a senior in high school, and we went to Disney World and all this kind of stuff, and there was like a group of like 8 of us that became fast friends, and that was like in April, and then I came back and I, you know, graduated, and like we really never talked to each other in the halls after that, but like those 2 weeks, we were like inseparable, this group of like 8 of us, right? And I will never forget that. And like I look at all of the pictures from that trip because I have them in my basement, and it was just all, I didn't even know them before this trip. We had like all sat next to each other on the bus and became friends, and one couple was dating, and you know, it was that kind of memory of like being together and this shared experience. You know, it's the whole kind of sinking ship theory that when you go down in a sinking ship with somebody, you'll be forever tied to them, you know, as like, or like as rescuers or as the rescued. So, you know, I think about these different movies like that where people have these experiences that change them profoundly by meeting one person or meeting a group of people. And I was looking at that in my life where I keep a very close knit of friends. Like I don't have 30 close friends. I have 3 close friends, or, you know, 3 close friends and a couple that we're close friends with. And that's kind of it. Like I don't have a lot of close friends, right? But I have had people in my life that I have met for very short periods of time. Like, we'll go on a trip and we'll become, like, this just happened to us when we went to Cancun this summer. Alex and I met this couple, and we started talking to them. We met, you know, this mother and her daughter's friend that were from London, and we started talking to them. And we became kind of like close friends over, you know, the period of a couple days. And when we would see them in the bar after dinner, we would sit there and talk to them, you know, and it was fun, and it was, you know, it's that whole idea of shared human experiences, and I want those in my life, because I think what happens is those may not be people that we're with for life, but you can have an interaction with somebody in an afternoon, or over a weekend, or over 2 weeks, or over a month, or over, you know, at camp, or, you know, like at a work training thing, and I'm thinking more platonic, but maybe in times not as well, right? That you can have this profound change. And I had this very short romance in between my ex and Alex, and it was very short-lived when I was out of town visiting somewhere. And you know, I am very much this guy that loves monogamy and believes in that, and I thought this would be this thing that I was ready to move there. I was ready to change everything in my life, and, you know, and that was not his plan, and I understand that now, you know, but like, and I understood it very quickly when I came back, but at the time, I was like, very intent. Do you hear my neighbor? She is knocking on the walls. She's putting up, she's hanging stuff on the walls. But anyway, at that time, I was like, oh my God, like I fall in love that quick, right? And I was like, I like want to spend my life with this guy. Like he is so nice. He is so kind. He's so compassionate. He's so, you know, handsome and all this kind of stuff. And that wasn't his plan. You know, his plan was that he at the time was moving his way up in the business that he worked in, and he was, you know, older than me, and he knew what he wanted for himself. And but I will never trade in that experience that I had with him, because it taught me some things in my life. You know, it taught me that love is possible. It taught me at this dark part of my life when, you know, my mom was gone and I had broken up with my ex, and, you know, all of this stuff had happened to me, that like there was hope, there was possibility for a completely different new world. I mean, I was ready to reinvent myself completely, you know? And if I could do it then I can do it at any time. And I think that in any of these moments that we have these interactions with people, even just briefly, we have to take those as gifts of life. Those are the small things, or the small moments, the teaching experiences in our life, and take from those experiences. And if you've watched Lost in Translation, there's a scene at the very end. People have tried to slow it down and see what they say, but I'm telling you, there's no way you can. And they try to figure out what she whispers into his ear at the end. And the reality is, it just really doesn't matter, because it's the experience of their shared human experience together that makes the difference and means everything, right? So I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.